Can we get a roll call?
Commissioner Andretti?
Here.
Commissioner Pratt?
Here.
Commissioner Seifert?
Here.
Here.
Chairman Arabella Hernandez?
And Vice Chair Dickerson.
Here. Okay, if everyone has had a chance to take a look at the August 3rd and August 17th minutes, if there are no changes or observations, then I need a motion.
The only mistake I found was that Peter Gilly was, on August 17th, was asking us to continue the item to August 17th. I think that was 21, should have been September 21, so that's on the August 3rd, you know, because we continued it to, I'm sorry, I take that back. I stand corrected. I'm sorry. There on the August 17th item, the request, according to Mr. Gilly, was to continue to August 17, but it.
Of which item number?
Okay, this is the August 17 meeting, and it should have been to the September 21.
It's item 6, page 5.
Wow.
Yeah, September 21. It was just
Okay,
And that's correct. It should be a different date. But
September 21.
and I would move that we adopt the minutes with that modification.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And any abstentions?
That would be me. I abstain. I was not here at that meeting.
Okay. Okay, public comment period. Each member of the audience may address the commission on any subject within the commission's business. Each member of the audience and each subject is limited to discussion of 3 minutes or as otherwise directed by the chair. This is for items that are not already on the agenda. Does anyone want to discuss anything that is not on the agenda? Seeing none, we will move along to the consent calendar. The consent calendar is approved with one motion. These items are read only on request of commission members. Should anyone, including members of the public, wish to discuss or disapprove any item, it must be dropped from the blanket motion and considered as a separate item. I did have one question. I know that you and I went over it beforehand, but I just wanted to make sure from council on this. So it is all right for us to pass by motion a resolution? We don't need to have an actual vote that is put down?
I'm not sure I understand. I mean, you move to adopt the resolution.
Well, we're moving to, it's on the consent calendar, so we're just
Right.
all going to say yes to it rather than an individual vote, which is normally how a resolution is passed.
That's true.
How about if I'll suggest we remove it from the consent calendar?
And
Well, that'll
that's not,
solve the problem, but I don't think I don't think you're required to have I mean, as long as you have the roll call, I think it'd be okay.
okay, I mean, so in the future, it's all right, it's still all right to do it by motion? We never, if we had resolutions that we want to put on the consent calendar?
I would say so. I will look into it to make certain, but
Okay.
my instinct is that it's okay, but you should do it by roll call,
Okay.
which you can do on request, even on a motion.
Okay, can we get a motion by roll call?
I'll move that we approve the consent calendar, and that be done by way of roll call.
I second that.
Adam?
Commissioner Andretti?
Aye.
Commissioner Seifert?
Aye.
Commissioner Pratt?
Aye.
Vice Chair Dickerson.
Aye. And that's 2698, I believe, is the resolution.
Yes.
Yes.
Moving on to the public hearings, item number 2, Presker Commercial Center tentative parcel map, northwest corner of North Broadway and Presker Lane, tract 6003. Can we hear from staff?
yes, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a request to subdivide a parcel that the Planning Commission approved a plan development permit in May. Subject site is on the screen, the corner of Presker and North Broadway. And this is the site plan of the project that was approved in May. It's a hotel building, a fast food restaurant, a retail building, and a sit-down restaurant. After the PD, the applicant filed for a subdivision map to split the site into 3 parcels, as shown in this exhibit. This was to be heard at the Planning Commission meeting of August 17th, but was continued at the request of the applicant because they wanted to explore doing 4 lots instead of 3 lots. Basically, the original proposal was to put the hotel on 1 lot, the fast food restaurant, oh, you can't see. The hotel on 1 lot, the fast food restaurant on another lot, and then put these 2 buildings on the 3rd lot. Then the applicant thought, well, let's just try to put them on separate lots. While in theory that sounds relatively easy to do, there are some complications that led to the design not being able to be prepared in time to bring back to this hearing. And because of the interest in the developer to get the map approved so that the hotel can start with its construction, the applicant has agreed to go back to 3 lots. And if they do want to split parcel 2 here in the future, they have that ability. So we are back to 3 lots as the proposal, and staff's recommending approval of the map by resolution with 1 change to condition 19, which is shown on the screen. The project is noted to be in the original condition to be in tier 4 of the stormwater regulations, and it's actually in tier 3. To the commission, that really doesn't make a difference, and so we are changing it accordingly. The applicant is aware of this change. The applicant brought this to our attention, and we made the change, and they don't have any concerns. And they also notified us that because they are out of town, they do not have a representative at this meeting. That concludes staff's presentation. As stated, we recommend approval of the map with the following change.
Do any of the commissioners have questions of staff? None? All right. And we don't have any of the applicants. I actually do have just one quick question, and that is that by breaking this up, do we run into any risk that more prime things will be completed on a timely basis versus other parts of the parcel, and so we end up with a hotel, and then the rest of the stuff just kind of sits there for years and years and years?
No, the project can move forward as it is, even without being split up, if the deal is, if the business deal between the entities are designed that way. It could be that if they find a tenant for the restaurant up at the top here, that part of it moving forward might get delayed, but at the same time, they don't have any tenant, and if they want to move forward and do the lot split of parcel 2, they're able to move forward now and do that. There are some engineering issues that they will have to work with, but as mentioned in the report, they are solvable. It's just they are choosing to go the expedited route of getting some map put in place so the hotel can move now.
Okay, thank you. Are there any written communications? No? Or public comment? No? Okay, then let's go ahead and bring it back to the commission. And any discussion or a motion or a resolution is needed for this number 2699.
I will be happy to move for the resolution 2699 to approve tentative parcel map TR 20160001.
You probably want to reference.
Oh, excuse me, with the appended condition number 19.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, can we get a roll call?
Commissioner Pratt,
Aye.
Commissioner Andrade,
Aye.
Commissioner Seifert,
Aye.
Vice Chair Dickerson.
Aye. All right. Congratulations to the applicant, wherever they are. Number 3, American Self-Storage Conditional Use Permit at 3040 Skyway Drive. Hear from staff.
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is an unusual report because at this point, there's no longer a permit that the Planning Commission needs to act on. This was originally a request by the applicant to have razor wire around their site, and the staff direction was that we did not support that, so what would have been administrative, we were having come to the Planning Commission shortly before the packet went out, but after the public noticing went out, the applicant agreed to change from razor wire, which there's a photo of, is like that, to barbed wire. And though this would be the first mini storage to have barbed wire, staff believes because they are on a channel that has access that is away from the view of the street, that that's a reasonable reason to differentiate why this mini storage might be approved to have it while it might not be allowed in other spots that don't have that situation. So the permit was administratively approved, but because it was noticed, we still have to have an agenda item. So we are recommending that the commission remove the item from the agenda.
So we need a motion to remove the item, is that right? Okay. Questions?
I have a question. I hear it from our fencing contractors, and that the city has a no razor wire policy. Can you explain that?
The ordinance allows razor wire or barbed wire if you can demonstrate that it is needed. There have been, razor wire is generally considered less aesthetically pleasing than barbed wire, and so unless they can show that barbed wire would be would not work, or they had barbed wire and they still had issues, we would rather have the barbed wire instead of the razor wire.
So it's an aesthetic, it's not a liability? I've heard all these different stories as to why we have this policy. So it's basically we don't like the look of it?
It's primarily that. It's also in some cases razor wire crosses the property line because it's a loop, whereas barbed wire is straight up.
Okay.
In this particular case, their fence is actually back a teeny bit, so that wasn't an issue here. But in many other cases, a fence is right on the property line, and thus the razor wire would not be allowed to be outside their property.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? No? Someone want to make a motion?
I'd be happy to. I'd move that we remove conditional use permit U20160010 from the agenda.
Second?
I second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Moving on to report number 4, report on city council actions.
At the last council meeting, the Planning Commission recommendation on the general plan land use map amendment and zone change for the A Street and Betaravia project moved forward and was passed. The plan development permit will be coming back to the Planning Commission, I believe, at the next meeting. That's all I have for this.
Okay. Item 5, oral reports from Planning Commission and staff. Do we have any reports or anything, comments? No? Nothing from I either. How about from staff?
I
No?
have two things. One is that we're looking out at the rest of the calendar of the year, and we do expect to have hearing items at all the remaining hearing dates on the calendar, which will include the 21st of December. And yes, but I wanted to let you know early.
Well, so much for that joint commissioner trek to Paris that we were all planning.
And then also, we Staff did hear that there's a member of the audience who is attending this meeting because of a class, and I would just encourage that person to look at the video of the last meeting, August 17th, to get a more, a different type of hearing experience.
But an unusual hearing. It was unusual, so don't think that's typical.
And that's all I have.
Okay. And with that, if nothing else, we are adjourned.
Great.